Today's red carpet is in glamorous Beverly Hills, rolled out at the Fine Arts Theater, where there's another installation of Kat Kramer's films that changed the world. And this is a very special VIP screening of her father, Stanley Kramer's films, Judgment at Nuremberg and On the Beach. Very exciting, the first time she's ever actually screened her own father's films.
I founded Kat Kramer's Films That Changed the World in 2009 to present new filmmakers, primarily documentaries, socially conscious filmmakers following in my late father, Stanley Kramer's footsteps. And in my own small way, I'm doing that too by presenting these films. But I've never presented his films ever. That's what people can't believe. But no, I've never presented his films. But because it's the 80th anniversary of the Nuremberg trials and the 80th anniversary of when we dropped the bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, I decided to have a double feature of these films for new audiences and old audiences on a universal scale so everyone could see them. And the Fine Arts wanted to do something with me with Kat Kramer's Films That Changed the World, so it became a perfect marriage.
Stanley Kramer was a director known for confronting the topics that major Hollywood studios often avoided. In 1961, with Judgment at Nuremberg, he brought the dark reality of the Nuremberg trials, where German judges who served the Nazi regime were tried for crimes against humanity, to the big screen. The film explored profound questions of justice and individual responsibility in the face of rampant nationalism. Scholar and professor Michael Berenbaum gave the keynote introduction.
Well, I'm here to introduce Judgment Nuremberg, which is one of the classical films on the Holocaust, one of the early films on the Holocaust, and has been voted by the Library of Congress, has been decided by the Library of Congress to be the most significant, one of the most significant movies in terms of shaping American culture and American civilization. So this is an incredible opportunity to see a classic in a very brand new way.
Tell me a little bit about why this is still an important film today.
You know, I wish it weren't an important film today, but it's talking about the responsibility of judges to not only follow the law, but to achieve justice. And it's also talking about the fact that how once judges begin to violate the law and not achieve justice, then there's a slippery slope that can ultimately lead to genocide. Doesn't have to lead to genocide, but it can ultimately lead to genocide.
The film was a technical marvel and a cultural moment. Kramer pioneered the 360-degree arc shot, a technique that follows the subject completely around, creating crucial movement and tension in scenes that might otherwise have been static courtroom speeches. But its most searing impact came from its use of truth. Judgment at Nuremberg contained actual footage of the concentration camps shot by American and Russian soldiers who liberated them. For many in the American and global audience, this was the first time they saw actual, horrifying images of the Holocaust. His youngest daughter, filmmaker Jennifer Kramer, talked about how her father's courage inspired her own artistic voice.
He was a revolutionary in his work in every way. So I'm not surprised that he found a way to create something that in those days was probably never done, because that's just who he was in every single respect. A lot of the things that I write and trying to make into films are, socially conscious, or they're like my own personal passions. And I think my father had his personal passions that was true to his time period and who he was, being Jewish and experiencing anti-Semitism and all the things that you see in his films. I recognize as his daughter is who he really was. So for me, it's inspiration for me to be who I really am in my own work.
The evening's second feature, the 1959 classic On the Beach, proved Kramer's willingness to address any threat to humanity. This film was a stark, cautionary tale tackling the terrifying issue of nuclear radiation and its deadly global effects.
I'm one of the speakers on this panel, and it's to acknowledge and really show respect for Stanley Kramer's film On the Beach, which was one of the first and still the only film that I can think of that deals most specifically with the issue of radiation after an atomic blast. Usually we're made afraid of the blast for good reason, but that atomic blast has only been used against two populations, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, 80 years ago. Whereas the radiation problems that come from every step of the nuclear fuel chain, from mining the uranium to making the materials to running nuclear reactors to what has to be done with the waste that gets produced, all of that is exposing all of us to radiation every day. It's like I like to say, nuclear kills two ways: fast by blast, slow by glow, the glow being radiation.
The celebration of Kramer's work also offered a rare glimpse behind the scenes. Nicholas Iliopoulos' aunt worked in the wardrobe department, and he showcased one of the film's last original costume sketches.
Well, it's of Mary Holmes, played Donna Anderson. It's one of the brighter scenes on the beach because they stop and they show, the life of swimming and the life of having a good time. It's not all taking place on the submarine. And so this is the last sketch. The other ones are gone. And I thought I'd bring it today.
So this is her wardrobe for that day?
Yeah, that's right. My aunt did wardrobe. All three of my aunts did wardrobe.
The event included a think tank discussion bringing together academics and influential figures to debate the ongoing urgency of the social issues that Kramer highlighted decades ago.
All of the issues in judgment in Nuremberg are happening in and around the world. These problems haven't been solved, and the only way to find our way through any and all of this is to continue to make laws that are just and modify those that are not.
A powerful night celebrating a filmmaker whose legacy is measured not just in box office, but in courage and impact. That was Stanley Kramer, a man who made films and left a legacy that changed the world. A special shout out to my media buddy Harrison Held at Scene Around Town. I'm Jennifer Still, and I'll see you next time on the red carpet.